All right. So the next or the final part of today's discussion here, this morning's discussion, and then uh, we'll hand out the assignments after lunch. So we'll come back right at noon and get going here. So I'll try and get done here by about 11:15, and then we'll go break for lunch. So we're just going to be discussing sectioning of round objects and how we're going to be dealing with that. And we're also going to be looking at sectioning offset objects. So I'm just going to pull up this feed block here, which is going to be part of the assignment for sectioning next year. Again, I got a bunch of extra pencil work here to erase. I think people were just Xing them off as they got them done in their assignment. So I have somebody's kind of checklist here of what to do as they were getting this done. So this ends up being a pretty simple exercise in terms of sectioning through this thing. And the reason, of course, is that it's symmetrical. All the holes are in the middle, so there's not even a need to do an offset section for this particular object. So for sectioning our feed block, we would be, just draw the overall shape, and I can do that with object lines. So something like this, if we were cutting a section and looking in that direction, we've got a couple of counter bores here for the holes at the toe of this thing. So those would be in here. And then the remainder of the hole, now it says 20 counter bores, so that's the diameter of the counter bore, 10 millimeters deep, 2 holes. Now, here you can see that we've got an outside hole of 26. So we've got two things here. We've got a hole diameter of 26, and then we've got a 20 millimeter counter bore that's 10 deep. So what you're going to end up with is the hole. Oh, sorry, the hole in the middle here. So this is pointing to the hole. It's a diameter of 13, and so the counter bore is 20. So we've got 2 holes. So when it says holes, that means that you're going all the way through the object. So here when I'm just sort of sketching out the section. So the terminology matters. So here we've got diameter 13, 2 holes. So the hole here has a diameter of 13. Then we've got the counter bore at the top. So there's the abbreviation for that. So you have C sink, C bore, and S face. So those are the 3 abbreviations. So C bore for counter bore, C sink for countersink, and an S face for spot face. So each of these have their own appearances. So there's your spot face there. It's a cylindrical recess. A countersink is actually a funnel shaped recess. And then a counter bore is a cylindrical shaped recess. So spot face and counter bore are kind of the same, but spot face is a very shallow hole, and a counter bore is actually greater. So going back to our part here, the hole is 13 in diameter. Our C bore up here, now they don't use a radius with them, or a diameter rather, but it really is a diameter of 20. So this thing here, the width of the hole is 20, the hole down here is 13. So if you're looking at this hole, it's 20 wide by 10 deep. and then there's a hole that goes right through the whole thing. Now, this is a bit of a trickier wicket up here. So here you can see that we've got an 82-degree countersink, which is 7 degrees deep. Now, what does this 82 degrees mean? So here you can also see that we've got a 10 millimeter hole that's 30 deep. Now, if we're looking at the depth of this entire object, you can see it's 25 down here and then another 20 on top. So this thing is 45 thick at the back end of it. Our hole here is diameter 10, but only going down 30. So we're going to be ending up with a hole that looks like that. That's only 30 millimeters deep. Now the 82-degree countersink, what's that about? Well, what it is, it's the included angle of the drill bit that cuts the hole for our funnel-shaped countersink. So there is your drill bit. And so what we're looking at here is the angle in between the faces of the cutting tip on the drill bit. And that is 82 degrees. So again, 82-degree countersink. So when you're drawing this up, you'll have to bust out the handy-dandy protractor. And you don't have to be totally spot on. It's actually more about the note that's being provided, because that means that the fabricator, they're not going to measure the angle on the drawing. They're going to take your note, find the appropriate drill bit, and provide that angled tip when they are putting the hole in the top. So how do we get this drawn in our section? So the section, of course, would be solid lines here for the hole. And you can draw the little cone-shaped piece at the bottom for where the hole ends because of the drill bit. It doesn't really matter one way or the other. It's all good. Now, this thing, how is this drawn? Well, our countersink comes down so that the tip of it is 7 millimeters below the face of the material. So we're going to come down 7 millimeters, start our countersink, and then out we go, like so. Now, I'll get rid of some of the geometry here that wouldn't be drawn. So just draw these as construction lines and then get rid of the stuff that's in the middle of the hole. Now, once the countersink has been drawn, what you're going to see up here is going to look like this. So here's the top face of our material. Here's where the countersink comes down. You'll see an object line on the back side of the countersink flare, whatever that might look like, and then you will start sectioning it, providing the section lines that show what's going on. You'll have a center line that runs down through the middle, and that's how that will be handled. Now, there's some other parts of this that will that you're going to run into in this assignment that will be tricky. There will be keyways that have to be showing up, and we'll get into those when we look at the assignment. So here, just another one of these, you know, looks like you're supposed to be cutting it away, but here it's just showing you how this thing is constructed. So don't draw it this way. So we'll come back and look at these problems that have the keyways in them right after lunch. So that's all stuff that we'll be dealing with, and then some of these other problems here where we'll be sectioning, but we're not going to be showing the hub. Okay, so we are at 11:15 now, so we will now break for lunch, and I'll try and make sure that nobody, my kids, tries to interrupt me to get me coming back here on time at 12 noon. So we'll see you guys then.